Council Lady Christian Hawk, would you do our invocation?
Stand, please. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you today to ask your blessings on the Cherokee Nation. Please guide us to make decisions to glorify you. Protect those in harm's way. May they return safely to their loved ones. Please allow all to see it in their hearts to provide for the less fortunate. Let no elder know the feel of chill of winter, no child to go hungry, or no parent to know the heartache of losing a child. Keep your loving hand on us all. We pray this in your name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Roll call, Sean.
Curtis Snell.
Here.
Chris Stokes.
Here.
Will Anglin.
Here.
Bill John Baker.
Here.
Jack Baker. Harley Buzzard. Julia Coates. Here. Bradley Cobb. Joe Crittenden. Jody Fishinghawk. Here. Mary Craven. Here. Janelle Fulbright. Here. Don Garvin. Chuck Hoskins Jr. Hannah Blair Jordan. Present. David Thornton. Kara Callan Watt. John Masters. We do have a form.
Good morning, thank you. I'd like approval of the November 10th meeting, please.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Do we know anything about that? Yeah. That's it.
We'll move to the reports. Natural Resources, Jack Farmer. Is that your report, please?
Mr. Chairman, before we get started,
Yes.
I just want to say Shirley called this morning and said she wasn't going to get John out because the roads were bad and everything, and she'd already had all the cookies made and everything, but she would just give them out up there around Delaware County. She called me this morning to let y'all know.
Thank you. Jack?
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chairman. Good afternoon, Councilors. It's my privilege on behalf of the Management Resource Group to present you with our report. We previously have mailed you our report. There are a couple additions that I would like to mention. We are working on a capital improvement program. We are about to finish that up and should have that to the council in the near future. Also, we have started working on a master plan for the Cherokee Nation. And if I may at this time, I'd like to introduce a new staff member to the Management Resource Group. It's going to be our Director of Planning and Development. Her name is Dana Espinal. Dana, would you stand up? Okay, so that's our new addition. At this time, I'd be happy to answer any questions that the councilors may have. Yes.
Councilor Report.
Yes, Mr. Farmer, the capital improvement program that you're preparing, does it include the health capital improvement program that was talked about today?
Yes, it will.
And is that program one that you're going to come forth with maybe an idea of where the funding would come from also?
That program will be a joint program between health and management resources in that capital improvement plan, and they will have their input, and we'll bring that to you as a proposal. Yes, ma'am.
And your overall capital improvement program, it will contain an idea of where the funding will come from?
Yes, sir. There will be sources. I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am. There will be sources located, identified, how it will be funded.
Okay, thank you.
Any more questions? Yes.
So you're working on the Supreme Court building and the council house and all that stuff as well?
Yes, we are. We're in the process of looking at the needs, and that's an ongoing process at this time.
More questions? Thank you, Jack.
Thank you.
Well, I guess you want to do the construction and facilities report. Jack, you're back up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes. Just one moment, Jack.
Okay. Actually, we.
One moment, Jack. Councilman Sutton.
Yeah, Chairman Snell, I would like to, just for housekeeping purposes, I think that these two reports have been combined and they report to the same department. So in the future, I think as far as housekeeping goes, if we could just call this Management Resources report, I think that would make things easier. make that a form of motion.
Any questions? Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Was there another question? Or?
Any questions for, yes, Laura?
On the, and I guess construction, that probably contains your capital improvement program that you just discussed too.
Yes, ma'am.
What are we doing as a tribe to get our projects included in Obama's stimulus package for the overall nation?
Yes, ma'am. The Management Resource Group, we came together last week and we put together several projects, and I believe the administration has taken those and consolidated those and made a proposal, a stimulus proposal.
Can that particular report be shared with the council?
I'll see if that can happen. I'll ask the question.
There might be some input from the council as to maybe some additions to that
Sure.
report. And what, do you have any idea, Jack, what the amount was?
No, but I'll be happy to, there's several items on there, and I'd be happy to get a dollar amount and see if that information through the channels to get to you.
I as a council member, and I would hope the other 16 council members would also be interested in what we're asking President-elect Obama to include in his stimulus package for infrastructure improvements. And I would ask that that be emailed to us. If it's already been sent to him, surely you could share it with us.
Okay. Again,
I would ask that that be emailed to every council member.
Thank you. Any more questions for Jack? Jack, thank you.
Thank you.
Your report. Real Estate Services, Linda Donaldson.
Good afternoon. You have my report, and I just wanted to add to that as to the Claremore Federal Building, the Patton property up here on the corner, and the Sequoia High School properties. Those should have all been transmitted up to Washington, D.C. for final approval and publication. So what we're going to be looking for now is publishing it in the paper, Federal Register, and once that is done, those transfers will be complete.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, Karen.
Thank you, Kurt. Does that mean that we're getting the Claremore Federal Building in trust at the same time?
Well,
Because I know the other two properties, it's a trust question, but ours is ownership transfer, right?
right, and one of the people who were kind of down on us having it in trust is no longer at the Bureau at the moment. She's resigned. So we are looking at the possibility of seeing this happen. Oops, Mary down there.
Okay.
And
So you're applying for trust at the same time in that application?
that's what we're hoping for. But how they're going to do it is going to be a question, because the documents that GSA transmitted, that they said it to be transferred in trust to the Cherokee Nation. And we're hoping that they will honor that position.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Linda.
Okay. And that's all I have.
Have any questions, Linda? No questions, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Roads and Transportation, Michael Lynn.
Good afternoon. I'll start with our federal funded or our IRR projects in Cherokee County. Barber Road, still finalizing the design on that project. We anticipate beginning the right-of-way acquisition in January. I think previously, I know I was unfortunate to miss last month's committee meeting, but just to catch you up real quick, we had some issues with design. I think I reported a couple of months ago on that particular project getting close to a house. We got that resolved, and with the keeping the road on basically the same alignment, and so we worked through that issue, and there shouldn't be any right-of-way needed from the gentleman or the family that lives in the house, other than just some construction right-of-way, temporary right-of-way that'll go back to them once the project is completed. So just to catch up on that. Northeast Fort Gibson that crosses into Muskogee and Cherokee County. Right-of-way acquisition is anticipated to complete or start after the first of the year on that project. It's still under design is being finalized on that. Rice Woodard, we're moving utilities. The last utilities we have are gas and water. We've got a contractor selected to dig the trench for the gas and water line. That contract has not been signed off on yet because of some documents that the contractor is needing to turn in, but once those are turned in, we should get started on that really quick. It'll probably take 120 days or so to get those relocated, and we'll let that project out for construction. Cookson Part here in Cherokee County, final inspection was performed in November. Had a good final inspection, very few minor deficiencies. Those have been corrected, so we'll be filing that project out officially. Red Barn Road, the contractor's still working under the liquidated damages clause of our contract. Currently, they are over 118 days beyond the contract. They're still fencing, some stripe repair, and some general cleanup that is remaining. Adair County projects, Greasy Rehab, what we call it, as an old IRR project that we are going to come in and overlay and repair some slopes on. We anticipate that starting in early 2009. The Delonaghy South Road, we had a community meeting there on November 17th. Had a really good turnout. A lot of folks turned out for that one. I had a pretty good response. Plans on that project are approximately 30% design, and that's when we'd like to hold our first community meeting. Delaware County, Twin Oaks Bull Hollow project. We've sent all the plans out to the utility companies to get relocation plans back from them. We're anticipating starting the right-of-way on that within the next month or two. Kenwood J project, that's the Kenwood Road that heads from Kenwood towards J. We're working with the county on some possible or some new bridges and bridge design. So that kind of put that project on hold until we get some alignments set for the new bridges or the proposed bridges. So we're working with them real closely on that. Also, the other half of that road from Kenwood on into Salina that runs into Mays County, we're beginning the design on that. Began right around the 1st of December. So that's one we're going to be starting here we just recently started. We held a dedication on the Daytown Dry Creek project on November 18th. Had a really good turnout on that, so that project there is also finalized out. And in Mays County, Cedar Crest Road and Bridge, the landowner that we're working with up there in Mays County on that project, I think we've came to an agreement with him. However, he wants some assurances from the county and the district attorney on whether or not the old bridges will be removed. The twin bridges is what they've been referred to as. The current county commissioner is working with the assistant district attorney to try to get a statement on those bridges, on either keeping them or removing them. The landowner will not come to or sign any agreement until he has comfort level, I guess, with whether or not those bridges are going to stay or go. And then lastly, I want to mention the transit program. The route from Stillwell to Tahlequah has been stable, but it's still, the ridership is very low. We need to try to get the word out a little bit better. We've sent emails and stuff around. We worked on a brochure that is being finalized right now. And then we've also even proposed a stop around the Eldon area for folks that live around there, so that maybe try to pick up some more riders. But we would like to see the numbers pick up on that. Gas prices coming down have not helped the transit matters. When we started it was around $4 a gallon, and now we're down to $1.50, so that doesn't help matters. We do anticipate starting a route between Claremore, Catoosa, Claremore, and Pryor. We anticipate that starting January 1st. We're coordinating that with Pelivan Transit, and we're working on finalizing a memorandum of agreement with Pelivan. And as far as the tribal projects go, motor fuel, motor vehicle, and special bridge funding, I don't have any projects to present this month. None have been received to date. That's all that I have to report.
Do we have any questions for Michael? That's
Yeah, I
what's
need
so.
to have just a side discussion with you, Michael. You leaving pretty quick, or?
No, I can hang around.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
About how big a punch list do we have on the Dry Creek Road?
Very, very little, just some general cleanup. There was some silt fence and sediment control that needed to be removed. There was some backfill on some concrete ditch liners, and other than that, I think that was about it. And the fencing still needs to be completed by the subcontractor. Other than that, those 3 items, that was probably the biggest item.
What about the drainage under near the Butch Black Box's old house? Did you look at that?
We've looked at it. There's been some conflicting reports there whether or not a pipe was there to start with. We didn't show a pipe being in there to start with, a drainage pipe. The landowner tells us that there was one. What I wanted to do and what I told the landowner was I wanted to wait till the project was completed and their vegetation was established, and then take a look at it. I'd like to look at it again in the springtime, and if it is a problem at that time, we've got a possible solution that we can do to get that to drain properly. But when they were complaining, or not complaining is not the right word, but when they were discussing it with us, there was no vegetation at all. The water did go down there pretty fast. We set some riprap drainage protection there to try to slow the water down some. So I'd like to give it a chance to grow a little bit and then see what it looks like in the spring.
Did you have a visit with them?
Oh yes, definitely.
Councilor Fisher-Hall.
Michael, I'm curious because I had talked to 2 or 3 different people from different tribes this weekend about the Indian Economic Stimulus Package, and they put a lot of infrastructure in there. Did you submit anything to it?
Yes, we did. We submitted some stuff to administration about a week and a half ago, I guess.
Can you share some of it?
Off the hip, probably. I can't. Honestly, I can get the information, but I don't have it right offhand. They wanted projects that were ready immediately, and so I put together, compiled a list of projects. But
can you email them to Shelley and she can?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
Have more questions? Thank you, Michael.
Thank y'all.
Environmental Program, Tom Elkins.
Mr. Chairman, Council, good afternoon. I'm not Tom Elkins, I'm Ryan Callison. I'm the Acting Administrator for Environmental Programs. It's good to see everyone here. You have my report in front of you. If you have any questions at this time, I'd like to answer those for you. Some of the things that we've been working on environmental this month, we've submitted a U.S. EPA Brownfields revolving loan fund cleanup grant application for $1 million, and that's for local entities to apply to Cherokee Nation for brownfields type cleanup activities for community work. One of the things not listed on my report, and one of the items that we discussed in the past, is that our office has submitted roughly a $700,000 to $800,000 safe drinking water application for the upgrade to Kenwood Water District. That looks like that might be a possibility of that happening. We're kind of in the early stages. EPA is working with us on the potential of upgrades for that facility, that degrading facility, which we can come in and help upgrade that for them. Some of the things the staff been working on is we've been conducting meth awareness trainings for the various tribes around the United States. EPA and Cherokee Nation showing leadership and working with those tribes and offering that training. We're still doing quite a bit of air quality work, and that's the majority of my background. I've spent the last 13 years doing air and water quality work around Cherokee Nation at very similar projects to this air monitoring station we have in the back of the council house. We're doing some new metals testing work at the prior Cherokee Heights site. We're doing a lot of new mercury work this year that will come out in our reports in the months to come. And within the last month, we've hosted and coordinated the 12th annual EPA and Tribal Summit, which was in Tulsa. And last week, we did an advanced air quality management training class here at Cherokee Nation. We had some tribes come in from all across the U.S. try to show them what we've been doing with our air quality and water quality management program, and try to assist those tribes and bring them up to speed on some of the work that we've been doing. Some items that aren't on my report is we've been doing work with the Saline Courthouse, and we've chosen a contractor to work on that lead-based paint removal inside that facility, and hopefully that contractor can start around the February-March timeframe. The territorial courthouse and prison, we're in the process of choosing a contractor for that to do some radon mitigation work.
Further questions? Questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Just one moment.
Oh, no, it wasn't for him, no. There's a report in here that I've talked to Tom out in the hallway that doesn't have to do with the landfill, but due to the time, it wasn't on the agenda. Can we make sure it's on the agenda for next month, because Tom's going to talk about it then? Okay, thank you.
Going down to old business, got one item, Cherokee, Miss Council Lady Watts, would you like to present that?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think, Tom, do you have a report on an update on that, or who's responsible now for that update?
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry.
And specifically, when you report, there's been questions about what the downturn in the economics concerning recycling, how it's impacted our program.
Sure.
And I think Jack may help you. I don't know if he can back you up on this or not, since he's been part of the group.
Well, we've been working on this task and working with within the services team, meeting on green policies, things that we can enact within Cherokee Nation. Some of the work that we've been doing there is looking at what other tribes have been doing. One of the things that I've tasked folks do is to look at models, look at some of the tribes that have been successful with this, like Mohegan Sun and Pequot have got a really good renewable and sustainable program policy. As far as legislative work, I'm not sure that they have. That's some of the things that the staff are looking at. But from our recycling activities and what we have noticed due to the lowering of gas prices, it's almost been impossible to find a vendor to work with us on the cardboard and plastics. But as of late, within the last week, Mr. Enlow with leadership has identified a contractor to work with us on cardboard, waste paper, plastics, and those recyclables. So I think there is a solution to that, but it's the tonnage rate that will be paid or the tonnage rate that we have to pay is very low. So at this current economic time, it's not as profitable or fruitful for us. And there are solutions, and there are ways to address this without going to the landfill and disposing of it that way. So there are alternatives, and once we get a concrete determination as to a contract or what route that we're going to go with this, we'll report it back.
One thing that Tom had been doing for us and the group that was meeting and such is reporting new initiatives or new updates on insurance policies. In lieu of legislating mandates by this body, we were expecting monthly updates and some kind of culmination of like a plan and how we were going to account for the public and report out sustainable practices and either like amount of CO2 that we decreased, those things that like amount of recycled papers, plastic, like tonnage and stuff, and he was working on that. Okay. So I might pass that on to you.
That's fine, and I'll be involved in that. We'll get a more detailed report for you in the months to come.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
And if the body has no objection or the chair, then I'd like to see this again on next month until we come to some kind of closure on it on the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on down to new business. First resolution, there's Council Lady Karen Calvin Watts.
I believe this is the one that we need to remedy, that it should be $180,000 Superfund grant. Yeah. So, yes, so there was a $150,000 one that's on the agenda for tonight. but it really needs to be the $180,000 amount, and there was some communication problems. So if this body could consider that this is the same grant as really is what's on tonight's council agenda, but it should be in the amount of $180,000 unless I've gotten misinformation again. So we would need to pass this to full council or amend tonight's to reflect the $180,000 amount. If you don't mind, let's give Ryan a moment since
I can check with Mr. Short to make sure that is the amount. I thought it was $180,000.
so we had already passed amount for $150,000 on the same resolution for the same grant, and it's on tonight's agenda. But really, this should be in the amount of $180,000 coming out of this committee to full council. And I think that there's a deadline on the grant, so I'd like to see it passed for the $180,000 to be considered tonight. So I'll move.
Let's get Todd's comment on this.
What you would do is not take any action on this resolution because it's the same grant proposal, right? You have the same, in tonight's full council meeting, you just move to amend $150,000 to $180,000 and take no action on this resolution before you, this committee.
Okay. We'll move on. Number 2, resolution of Joe Clinton.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ryan, can you come back up just in case someone has a question about this? I was at an Environmental Protection Commission meeting the other night, and this information came up, and I was asked about the sponsor. There's a deadline on it also that I suppose they didn't know about or didn't get it in time. It's December the 31st, and they asked me if I'd sponsor it and if I would try to see that it got moved to full council tonight. It's for a grant for hazardous household hazardous waste. All right, why don't you give them a little brief explanation right quick of what it's for?
Yes. The HHW grant is for household hazardous waste collection events. This, I believe, is a USDA-funded grant that we're going to be working with communities to look at the disposals of household waste like we have in the past. It's a collection event. We usually host these on Friday afternoons or Saturday mornings where members of the public community can come in, dispose of these wastes, household waste, free of charge. We're looking at doing at least 3 to 4 of these with this funding, and I believe they're targeted, the funding's targeted for population centers under 1,000. So that would be in a lot of our smaller communities. That way the funding was done to where it would be allocated to where smaller communities wouldn't be left out. Some of our smaller communities would be involved, get projects, get money, and we'd be able to target to those areas.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Thank you.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Going down to announcements. We have any announcements?
Gonna be cold tonight.
Will we call tonight? You got to adjourn. I hear.
No, but
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Next meeting, January the 12th, 4 o'clock.